Okay, so if I was going to work on anything, if I was coming to the simulation afresh, I think there's the most meat is actually in the urban simulation currently because, and I'm going to be very graphic here, there are a number of bugs which need active development. So what you do is you go to GitLab Barbalet Urban, and you get this, and you'll also get the ape SDK. So you get a subset of the ape SDK, well, you get the ape SDK through that. Now this thing was previously called Mushroom Boy. I haven't changed any of that. So for the Mac, you will open the directory Mushroom Boy and open the Mushroom Boy project file, and that will bring you up to this. Now let's just run it so we can see what it looks like. So you can simulate much larger urban environments. I'll show you how to do that as well. We'll just get this up, hopefully, a bit of luck. So this simulates just a small block with no blapes in it. But let's make a change so it'll simulate a larger block, which you'll have to make. You scroll around with the mouse, and you can rotate with the mouse, and you also have arrow keys. And if you zoom in, it'll zoom in to the various houses and the no blapes and what have you. Okay, so let's look at how we increase the size of the houses. So the orientation is, it contains a good portion of the no blape simulation, and also additional stuff like city and game. So let's have a look at game. I think maybe mushroom within game, and here points per room, points per path, blah 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 blah. Where do we have the actual size of? Sorry, I'm familiarizing myself as well. Points per fence, points per simulated path, points per space. Okay. Simulated 2 block. Simulated neighborhood. How many simulated neighborhoods are there? So that's the only time simulated neighborhood is used. Doesn't seem right. I would have thought there was simulated neighborhood. 2 block number. Okay, city top left, city top right. Here we are, 2 block edge half times 2. Okay, so let's try this 4 and see what happens. I think we'll end up with 4. Yes, okay, so we get a bit bigger city with that. And I'm not sure what the limit is here. Let's see, let's break this thing. Let's try 8. I think 8 is going to be too big. This is a project in and of itself, actually. Yeah. So there really should be no limitation associated with what this number is. But it's based on the limitation associated with some hard graphical constants, which I think need to be changed. So yeah, does this work, right? Okay, so this is still too big. So let's see if we can get 5 at least. Nope. So 4 is as big as it goes. So yeah, this is a project in and of itself. You can find the limitations, which I think are graphical in the way the graphics are constructed, associated with the block space. And that is probably bug number 1. So this should possibly scale up much larger. I'm pretty sure at some stage I've run it. This is the 4 count. So with 8 of these, but that was back when the graphics were a lot more simple, basically. So there's a lot to explore here. All the graphics are hand constructed as well. So you can look into how the graphics are done. That is done through the GUI portion, and basically There's a lot of polygonal logic and just a lot of drawing logic in here. Now, one of the interesting things that I think is worthy of debugging is the individual apes interaction. So if we find some apes, which is very difficult at the big scale, let's move it down to a smaller scale. Find some apes accordingly. So let's move the half block. I think you can do half block 1 here, which is the way it's originally done. It's the debugging associated. So for example, this ape will not adhere to the room, right? So it's putting in room blocks. Looking at the ape space, this is a window. The ape is going to, without doubt, walk through the window. So it's inferring hard spaces and turning through that, which is graphical in part because you can show how far the ape is looking ahead. You need debugging, basically. If you don't have debugging, you're not going to get very far with regards to this stuff. So you need debugging to understand what the ape is actually looking at and this kind of stuff, which you can do graphically very easily. You can project forward how far they're looking, where they're blocked. I would assume would be the fence if it was working correctly. But yeah, there are these bugs, right, which need fixing, basically. So at every level, the urban simulation provides a lot of different bits and pieces to look at. And then you could start looking at, the broader things, but basically there are a bunch of small things that still need to be fixed with the urban simulation in its current form. And also familiarizing yourself with the code and doing debugging and this kind of stuff will give you a lot of possibilities. Anyway, I hear the dinging, which indicates you're probably chatting with me, so I want to get you this video as soon as possible.